Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. Excited for this video. Going to do some plant unboxing right here at the beginning of December. I've got several things coming in the mail over the course of this winter that you guys will see. Some new interesting plants for the garden, doing some rearranging, foundation planting out here, and looking for some interesting things for the garden. This first unboxing is from Plant Delights Nursery, and I have unboxed some things on the channel before, and you guys have seen lots of videos that I've done with Tony Avent at the garden over the last year and a half or so, including last week. As you're watching this, last week there will have been a video going up on the new 2023 USDA zone map. You may want to go back and take a look at that video. There's a lot of great knowledge that Tony shared with us in that video about the zone map and how the zone map was created. He was actually on the committee back in 2012, the last time it was updated. So it's a super interesting video, and while we were there, we picked out, we're talking to him about maybe some things that we could add to the garden here. So ordered 4 things, and they're all not difficult to grow things, but they're interesting cultivars. And so we're going to open this thing up. I'm sure they're going to look great, and talk about the plants that are inside. Oh, nice. Nice. Always packaged really, really well. Oh yeah. So there's 3 plants in that. And then one wrapped up really tightly in this package. So I don't know which one that one is right now. So let's open up the paper package first. I'll show you the way these are boxed. This is how we got them last time as well. They're really boxed extremely well where the soil can't get out and escape into the. I have unboxed things in the past from some places where half the soil's falling out of the box on the way, or falling out of the container on the way to you. This is an agave that I've wanted for a while. This one's called Porcupine. This one is super, super compact. And when I see it in the garden sometimes, it almost looks fake. It's so perfectly proportioned on all sides. It's really, really compact. This one is native to the Chihuahuan Desert down in Mexico, which stretches up into the U.S. It's one of the top 10 biggest deserts on Earth. This one was selected originally by Aucuba Nursery. It has these, again, super, super compact habit, and then it has kind of a white edge along the edge of each of the leaves. Agaves in the asparagus family. These this one's hardy in zone 7B to 10. There's agaves that are hardy, again, up here in zone 7, and there's some that are, only like zone 9 hardy, that kind of thing. But this one is more cold hardy. We won't have an issue with cold on it. What will kill this is any kind of winter wet soil. So we have one planted out, another agave planted out by the road. This one will go out there as well. They take poor soil conditions, kind of pHs that are all over the place, really very easy going as long as you don't end up overwatering them, especially during the winter months. So again, I got a really harsh place out by the road that gets plenty of sunlight, the perfect place to put this. And again, as it grows, it almost looks, it's so perfect that it's just an interesting variety. It eventually will get yellow flowers way down the road in the future, and I don't think this one actually offsets. So when it flowers, it will be the end of its life, but that's way down the road, and a super interesting path to get there. So agave, porcupine. These boxes are just perfect, absolutely perfect for keeping everything in check here. Okay, next up is an aspidistra. This one is called Clouded Leopard, and as you can see from the leaf, there's a good reason for that. This is a native to China, non-invasive native of China. We have several aspidistra in the garden, and we're going to do an upcoming video with Tony at some point. He took us into the greenhouse where he's got his collection of different species and different named varieties and cultivars, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. We've covered cast iron plants many times on the channel. What's interesting about these cast iron plants is in the ground, this is hardy in zone 7B to 9. But everybody watching this video can actually grow this plant. You can grow this as a house plant. It could be outside during the summertime if you wanted it to be in colder areas, and then it's brought in during the winter and kept as a container plant, or left in all the time. It's a really fantastic house plant as well as an ornamental plant in the South. Maintenance-wise, we'll take the oldest foliage and cut it back down. Just cut them off in the late winter. You can take the whole plant off if you want to, but typically I'll just find the oldest tattered leaves and chase those down into the bottom of the plant and cut them off. So it's literally once a year maintenance. These will get a red flower this time of year. This is actually the time of year that they'll flower. This one is too young to be doing that, but we saw some of the really interesting flowers on this and other species in the greenhouse at Plant Delights, and the flowers are just so amazing. Right down at the ground level is where the flowers are produced. These cast iron plants are definitely going to be part shade or shade plants. They will take dry shade conditions, and there's not a lot of great evergreen things like this that are great for dry shade. They'll take a little more moist conditions as well, as long as the soil's well drained. But that's pretty much it. But this is a plant it and forget it kind of plant. Reach about 22 inches, 24 inches in height, something like that. And then once a year, you cut back some of the old tattered foliage so that it stays fresh looking all the time, and it just rewards you with this dark green foliage with these little yellow spots all season long. Next up is another one that I've really wanted for a while. I think this mellow mushroom Aucuba was in a video that we did doing a tour with Tony at the garden last year. I can never remember, because sometimes when I'm there filming with Tony, we will have a lot of other conversation while we're filming. So we'll film for a clip that's 4 minutes long and then talk for 20 minutes about something else. So I can't remember if we talked about this mellow mushroom Aucuba or not, but this is one I've wanted. This is a 2022 introduction from Plant Delights, and I think it was shared from Ozzie Johnson, and there's a few other plants in the garden here that are from Ozzie Johnson, and I would like to do a video with him at some point. We were close to doing one this past year, but that's somebody I definitely want to get on the channel at some point. So this is an Aucuba japonica that is a dwarf form. It'll only get about 30 inches tall and 3 to 4 feet wide in about 10 years. A lot of the other spotted Aucuba are going to get a lot larger than that in that period of time. And so I've seen this one in the garden, and it looks like a little mushroom shape. And so it's kind of the perfect name for it once it gets a little size on it. This one had flowers on it at some point pretty recently. Typically, though, they bloom in the February. Somewhere in there is when you'll get kind of a red, it's a reddish flower. They describe it as redwood colored flower on it. Pretty good description, actually. And this one, they're evergreen, and they're going to have this spotted foliage on it. It seemed a little less spotted. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong in the garden with a little bit of age on it that it does in this little newer rooted cutting. So that's kind of interesting, but it is a beautiful variegation. We have a semi little collection of Aucuba going out here. I've got this will be like 4 going in the garden. This is another fantastic dry shade plant, and we just can't get enough of them because this back section where we have the shade in this garden here in Raleigh is got a lot of root competition, and so this is the type of plant that I can get, put it in the ground, water it for some period of time. Once it's rooted in the ground, it's perfectly capable of competing with the trees back there. But this is an Aucuba japonica called mellow mushroom. One thing that has definitely been missing from this garden in Raleigh is a wild ginger or Asarum. So we finally have the first one. right here. When you go, gosh, the collection of Asarum over here at the J.C. Ralston Arboretum, and then down at Juniper Level Botanic Garden where Plant Delights is just absolutely incredible. These just fantastic, moist, woodland evergreens that just are so interesting in the garden. They spread by rhizome underground, but super slow. So this will take years and years. Many years from now, this may be 2 or 3 feet wide. It has a really thick rhizome that it spreads, as it spreads under the ground. So it's not invasive in any way. So it's incredibly slow growing. They get these really similar to the aspidistra that get the flowers right down at the soil level. These do as well, but this is a very large purple flower that occurs right down at the base on these on this wild ginger. This was also a Plant Delights introduction. This one's called Iron Butterfly. I think it was 2020 or something that this one was introduced. Really excited about this one. This one cannot go back in my dry shade area. It will likely go directly behind me here in a spot where the house kind of shades the space and keeps it a little more moist. Back here behind me, I think will be the absolute perfect location for this wild ginger. So there you go. There's the four plants we got in, all of which happen to be evergreen. Don't always pick evergreen plants. We have lots of things that go to sleep out here in the garden. But I do like to think during the winter time, as I'm shopping for plants and looking for plants that can add a little bit of winter interest in the garden. And definitely this variegated Aucuba fits that bill. The spotted aspidistra definitely fits that bill, having some sort of an evergreen ground cover like this wild ginger. And then any agave that I can grow here in Raleigh is just kind of fun. And exciting and unique to have have them over here on the East Coast, as long as we find a well-drained space for it and it doesn't stay wet during the winter time. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thanks to Tony and the group over at Plant Delights Nursery for sending us out some really fantastic plants. And you can see wrapped in plastic, rubber bands around them, and then boxed extremely tight so they won't spill any soil on the way here. And so they arrived just like they took them out of the greenhouse before they shipped them to us. Thanks for watching.